You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey B&B fans, it is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I want to dig into why Li Finnegan is going postal on her sister about Bill Spencer. I actually have an idea of why Li is so upset after finding out Poppy Nozawa is seeing and doing the deed with Dollar Bill. Let's unpack and discuss it, but first, please click subscribe if you haven't yet. All right, so we've got these two sisters a few years apart in age, one wildly successful in terms of her professional life and material things, and the other one is kind of a happy-go-lucky vagabond. One married a successful criminal lawyer. One of them never got married. They both had kids, but these women seem to be worlds apart as siblings, other than the fact that they came from the same parents and both have had children. Li Finnegan right now seems to have almost an unreasonable amount of anger aimed at her little sister, Poppy Nozawa. This has some viewers thinking maybe Poppy's not the happy, sweet little butterfly that she seems to be. I mean, there's really two ways to look at somebody like Poppy. You've probably had somebody like that in your life. If that's not how you are in your life, you know, you can see somebody like her as fun and carefree, or you can see them as an irresponsible flake, you know, two sides to the same coin. Li definitely sees her sister as the latter, the worst of the two. But even that doesn't seem to explain all the bitterness aimed at Li's sister. And there's even more suspicions raised now that we see Poppy nonstop popping pills. Everybody's calling her Pill Poppin' Poppy. I mean, come on. I don't know if they decided to have her popping pills when they gave her the nickname, because it sounds very nice. Unless Poppy is sick, these are a red flag of another issue. Maybe they really are happy herbal remedies, or maybe she's popping uppers or something. I mean, those could be pharmaceuticals rather than something from an actual herb shop. And I've seen some people in comments here and on other social media outlets wondering if they're marijuana edibles, which are legal in California and other states. And yes, they do make edibles as mints. But I would think Poppy would just go ahead and call them an edible, not an herbal remedy. I mean, yeah, weed can be considered herbal, but that's generally not the way I think people refer to it that openly use weed, you know. So it sure seems like Bold is pushing these pills in her mouth and in our faces for a reason. I don't think she's a junkie. I just don't. I tend to think maybe she's sick. Maybe. If she is, maybe Li Finnegan would lighten up on her. Heck, maybe Li could diagnose and treat her sister's illness. But for right now, we don't know about the pills, but the big question remains, why? Why does Li hate her sister Poppy so much? I wonder if Poppy crawled in bed with Jack Finnegan either before he married Li or while he was married to Li. The amount of hatred that Li has for Poppy seems to go far beyond standard sister-sibling rivalry stuff. I have a big sister. We fought. We never fought like that. I mean, gosh. But now that Poppy is dating Bill Spencer, does Li have another reason to hate her sister? Maybe. Let's dial things back on Bold and the Beautiful. Let's take our Bold and the Beautiful time machine back to July of 2022, 18 months ago. This was a couple of months after Sheila Carter shot Steffi and Finn. Steffi had recovered. Finn was still presumed dead. Remember, Li was taking care of Finn in a secret location. You guys probably remember this. She had snuck her son out of the hospital, had him set up in like a little apartment kind of space where she had all the medical equipment, and she was trying to heal her son, who initially was in a coma. Sheila found out. She showed up. She kind of took over, basically held them both hostage. Then she and Li had this physical brawl. Sheila was trying to kill her son's adoptive mother. Li got away. Sheila followed her, ran her off the road. So Li was presumed dead in this fiery car accident. But In late July of 2022, Bill Spencer stumbled across Li. He found her in really bad shape with no idea who she was. If I recall correctly, even though her car went off the cliff at the coast, I think he found her in the alleyway behind Il Giardino, something insane like that. Bill brought her home thinking she was some rando homeless mute woman because she wasn't talking because she was in shock, that just needed a bath and a sandwich and a place to sleep. Bill was really sweet to her. He was thinking he was doing this good deed for some poor person. But then Liam showed up, and Bill, he was saying things like, oh, I need to help this woman. It has my spency senses tingling. And then Liam recognized Li and told his dad, oh, by the way, you found Finn's mother, right? So I just wonder if Li Finnegan has had some sort of crush on Bill Spencer because he saved her and because he said he wanted to help her and that she'd gotten to him. He was saying stuff like that. Has Li been harboring a crush on Bill since summer 2022? This week, we have Li unloading on Poppy again. She's already laid into her sister once about Dollar Bill. When she first found out they were dating, she marched over to Forrester Creations, called her a gold digger. And now that Poppy's about to start sleeping with him, there's another showdown ahead. Wednesday, January 24th, Li and Poppy argue about Dollar Bill, and Luna gets down in the mud with them. I'm sure Li is slinging more accusations about Poppy, and Luna probably defends her mother. That brawl continues into Thursday, January 25th, where Li accuses Poppy of something awful, and the sister battle turns nuclear. I mean, Dollar Bill, the stallion, would love to know that two pretty ladies are arguing over him. And that has me wondering whether Li was already jealous of her young sister living her freewheeling life. And now that Poppy's getting a lot closer to Bill, maybe that's what pushes Li over the edge. Does Li Finnegan want Bill Spencer for herself? I mean, her awful marriage to Jack Finnegan was long running with lots of betrayals. He cheated with at least one woman, got a psycho pregnant, lied to his wife and son for 3 decades about it. I mean, yeah, Bill's got some issues. He's a cheater also, but Li doesn't really know all of his dirty laundry like she does Jack's. Maybe Dr. Li Finnegan has had the hots for Bill ever since the hunk rescued her that night. Maybe she was waiting until her divorce was final, then she was working up the nerve to let Bill know she has a thing for him. And then by the time she was ready to tell him, she saw Poppy had him under her spell. Maybe that's how it went. Maybe that's what some of the anger we see this week is caused by. It could be that Li has lost more than one man to her carefree little sister. Maybe back in high school, they were rivals. This could be a very long-running rivalry between these two. We'll see how it goes, but I just wonder if there's more to Li's behavior, more to what's driving it than we are seeing. Right now, it seems like she's just irrationally angry, but maybe there's so much more to this than we know, and I think we might get some hints of it this coming week on Bold and the Beautiful. Drop your comments below. Definitely click subscribe if you haven't already, and please come back soon. We're here talking Bold 7 days a week. As always, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.